Dolph Lundgren's a bit of an odd one. 6 foot something, built like a tank, one of the most iconic and instantly recognisable muscle men of the 80s, who wasn't one of the other two, and just happens to hold degrees in chemical engineering from KTH and a master's degree from the University of Sydney. He's also a 4th dan black belt in Kyokushin Karate, which, as the memes have suggested, means he holds more qualifications than Bill Nye, and I for one would love to see them in a ring together. He never set out to be an actor, but while getting that degree from Sydney, he was hanging out at a nightclub in the city and was spotted by Grace Jones and hired to be her bodyguard. Clearly she had other things on her mind, as not long after, their relationship became a little less than professional. Lundgren had been awarded a Fulbright scholarship to MIT, which he tried to juggle between modelling jobs and hanging out with Andy Warhol, and studying acting with Andy McDowell and Tom Hulce. When Grace suggested to Dolph that he should try out for a part in the Bond movie A View to a Kill, he was given the role of a nameless henchman who points a gun at Christopher Walken. Eventually he jacked the whole MIT thing in and pursued a career in acting, as he found the lifestyle more attractive than hanging around in labs all day. I have no idea what being a chemical engineer entails, but I can only guess it involves petri dishes and test tubes. It wasn't long after this that he heard Sylvester Stallone needed a bad guy for Rocky IV, and despite being initially rejected as he was too tall, he managed to beat out 5,000 other applicants, and the rest is iconic history. Unfortunately, his next big venture was Masters of the Universe. Now let us never speak of it again. After that was Red Scorpion, then The Punisher. Maybe jacking the whole MIT thing in wasn't looking like such a good idea after all. But this is what happens when you're playing third fiddle to Sylvester and Arnold, who had been established for years. But still, he carried on doing what he could find. But for me personally, his next big thing was the 1990 movie I Come in Peace, aka Dark Angel. Mainly because it's the first movie that doesn't rely solely on his physique and how good he looks with his shirt off. In fact, there's only one scene with him without a top on, and even then it's not gratuitous. So I Come in Peace. I remember when this was released, there was a rumour that the film was given a different title in the UK, that title being Dark Angel, because it was thought the Brits wouldn't understand the irony of the title. But this was probably just tabloid bullshit, as the actual reason was simply because 2 other properties still held the name in the US, and this predated the Jessica Alba series by a decade. The story is pretty 90s. Dolph plays Jack Kane, a 90s cop with a 90s name and 90s haircut, who has a personal vendetta against the White Boys, an organised drug trafficking ring hiding behind the pretense of legitimate business and swanky cars, after they killed his partner when a bust went south.
You're Turner, right? Detective Ray Turner?
You got the money, Buzz? You done? Buzz? You're not Buzz.
No, you're not very smart. You cops think you're so smart. You gotta know better than to mess with me and my white boy.
Like I said, so much 90s. I'm really surprised he didn't go full McBain at the end of this scene.
Mendoza!
After the White Boys steal a crapload of drugs from a police lockup and blow up the building for some reason, Kane is then partnered up with the by-the-book pencil-pushing Smith, who is about nothing more than a proper procedure and sucking up to his boss.
You're kidding.
You may not be accustomed to working on a case under federal jurisdiction, so Commander Switzer has asked me to lay out some parameters for your cooperation.
Parameters?
Yes, parameters are sort of general guidelines.
I know what the word means.
We all know Smith, so his character may be a little cliched, but Brian Benben, a guy so nice they named him Thrice, plays him perfectly, so he's just not well liked. A perfect foil for Kane, who's probably still coming to terms with the fact that it was partly due to him going off book that may have got his partner killed.
Keep talking, guys.
God damn it! There's money! Shut up!
As this is the 90s, we have to have a love interest. Enter Betsy Bradley. You know her, of course you do. Well, you've definitely seen something she was in, sort of.
I'm not bad. I'm just drawn that way.
Yep, our headstrong criminal pathologist was the on-set stand-in for one of the most iconic female cartoon characters in movie history, and got virtually no recognition for the role. Still, at least she had this on the horizon. Enter into the fray a couple of 8-foot-tall aliens, played by Matthias Hues and Jay Bilas. One good, one bad. One an interstellar drug dealer, the other an interstellar cop. For reasons unknown, the big bad has figured out that if you inject nearly pure heroin directly into the heart of a human, you can extract the resultant endorphins straight from the brain if you have the right tools and you know where to poke. By the way, well done for not going down the obvious route in this scene. I guess the 80s really were over. Oh, maybe not.
Think here. All the blood's leaving my head.
But when you know it, Matthias didn't come to the planet with a stash of drugs on him. But luckily, some local ne'er-do-wells have recently acquired some, as mentioned earlier. So with his trusty CD chucker, he sets off to liberate the scoundrels of their ill-gotten gains in a flurry of shiny metal and stuntmen falling over railings. And it's from here that the real buddy cop element of the movie starts. While Kane and Smith are actual chalk and cheese, they start to work together begrudgingly. And as they're sharing ideas, there's friction but no obvious hate as Smith's devotion to his boss and the rulebook drive against Kane's more relaxed attitude.
What did Switzer tell you?
Just about the whole story.
Bullshit.
Hey, I know what I need to know, okay?
All right, that's Drake. You know the difference between you and me? You don't care. You just want to please.
You, I do my job. I do what I'm asked to do, and I respect my superiors. That's the difference between you and me. I'm a team player.
Well, your team sucks.
Of course, Smith's higher-ups know more than they're letting on with regards to the aliens running around LA, and they're using him just to do the legwork.
The military benefits of a successful contact with this alien are enormous and cannot be compromised by somebody like Kane who just wants to kill it.
And spoilers regarding him as disposable when it comes to covering their tracks, just as Kane predicted. Rather accurately, as it happens.
I'm taking this to Switzer. He'll stop.
No, he won't. Switzer is a liar. He'll tell you one thing, he means another. Pretty soon he'll feed you that old line about breaking eggs to make an omelet.
Can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs.
So now these guys are off book, trying to crack the case and blowing crap up with their special space gun.
Oh, yeah! Oh, shit!
Yes, it's formulaic in places, and the overall plot could be written on the back of a coaster, but it's still a lot of fun, held up by the performances.
You drop that, please.
Although Dolph was probably still new at the whole emoting thing.
Come on, man! Come on! Come on!
And the snappy script which throws up the odd gem or two here and there.
Hey, fits.
I should. It was mine when I was 12.
Thank you.
Overall, it's a simple, fun sci-fi story that doesn't try to overdo it with pointless special effects, when big-ass explosions will more than suffice.